Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Caspian and I read books, and today I just realized that today I'm gonna go back to the library for the last time before my surgery next week. So from I have one book that I'm gonna keep at home for the whole duration of March. But during March I won't be able to go to the library, so other than that book I'm just gonna read books that I have at home. So today I'm gonna go and return the last few books and they need to be in today. And I just realized that I'm gonna do that in about 2 hours, and in 15 minutes I have a meeting with a client via Zoom, and I need to be done with this before then, because I won't have time in between to tell you about these books. So I'm gonna have to keep it quite short for me. So today I'm gonna talk to you about the Themis Files. I read those in Swedish. So these are the the second and the third book in the trilogy of the Themis Files. So this is Waking Gods. Is that what it's called in English? Yeah, Waking Gods and Only Human, I think, is the other one. Yeah, Only Human. So the first one is Sleeping Giants. So I read that, I think it was in November or December, and now I read these two books. So, and I loved this. Okay, so I adore these books. I remember reading Sleeping Giants and being very, just adoring it. And I had it on my want because need because I want them book list. So they are on my I want to buy these in the future book list, and these two are, I want to have them all. Because I want to have them. There were so many things I wanted to annotate, and there was like whole pages of the last book, I think, that I was like, I need to save this. So I'm actually gonna copy like 3 pages before I go to return these books. So I don't know really how to talk about these books without spoiling, but these are sci-fi books. So this is a sci-fi trilogy, and in the first book, and like the only thing that we really get to know if we look them up online and if we like read about the first book, is that it's about this girl that finds this she falls into a hole when she's like 9, 10 or 11 years old, and in that hole in the ground there's a big hand, like this steel hand is in this whole hole in the ground. And then when she's older, she is tasked with understanding, like researching what is this hand, what it's about. And so in the first book she finds out what it is, and she finds the other parts, and they make a whole robot, like a robot from an alien robot. And so the whole first book is about that journey, her journey to find out what it is, and her journey to find people that can what's the word in English, drive or manage. Like she needs some because there are there need to be 2 people to drive this robot, and just understand what it is. So that's like the first book. And so the second book is a continuation of that, and also, why is the robot here? What does the alien want? The aliens want, what do they want with us humans? And in the second book, did they come here? I think it's in the second book. I don't think it's in the. If I had the first one at home, if I owned it yet, then I would be able to tell if it's in the. I think because the 2 first books ends with like cliffhangers, so that you understand that there's another one coming. And I think it's maybe it's in the cliffhanger in the first book that the aliens are coming, something like that. And because suddenly there is one more robot, and it's just in the middle of London, and people are. It's so it is like these books are about what would happen in a situation like that. What would happen if suddenly there were parts of a robot all over the world? What would we do with it? How would we use it? Would we use it? Would we try to use it as a weapon? Do we think it is a weapon, or do we think it's something else? And when the aliens are coming, how do we greet them? Do we greet them as equals? Do we greet them with fear? Do we greet them with joy? So the second book is much about our relationship with these aliens. Like the first, and to understand why they are here. So there's like this event in this book, Waking Gods. In the beginning of this book, there's an event. It's a slow-paced book, but there's an event that triggers a reaction all over the world, and from there on we try to understand as a human race, why have they come, why did they do what they did, and how do we relate to this event. And then in the last book there are people actually ending up on that foreign planet and getting to experience that planet and the aliens. And so there's like I would say that the second and third book is about our relationship to the aliens and how that would be. And it's like a conversation, not a conversation, but it's like a deep dive into the philosophical questions about how would we interact with them, how would we perceive them, what would our reactions be, how would we act as a human race in the face of this or this or this, and how do we perceive their actions when we don't know where they're coming from and what their intentions are, and that sort of thing. And it's also a lot about the aliens and their intentions, but it's more about, I think they are being used as like, okay, so if there were aliens and their intention was this and their intention was that, and then also there's a discourse about like how their society looks opposed to ours, and how we look at them and how they look at us, and it's very interesting. So that's kind of what the books are about, without spoiling like the minor, like without spoiling the story. I haven't even told you like who the people are in the books, so I'm doing my best not to spoil it for you. So I really enjoy the mixed media of this. So a lot of the book is like conversations. So this is, you learn about the world building through conversations between people in the books, and I really enjoy the conversations. And as you can see, I have like tabbed. These are just some of the tabs that I made. I have already removed some of the tabs. So this is so funny. It's just so funny. Especially when I started the second book, I was sitting in our couch, and my partner was looking at me like several times, like, why are you laughing? And I was laughing so hard. I was like, belly ache, cramping, kind of laughing when I read this. And I tabbed, places where there were like funny conversations. And then when I looked through the tabs afterwards, I was like, it's still funny, but it's the context that makes it funny. And it's like the escalation of reading the book and following the banter and the language, and just following the people in it, that makes the next and the next conversation even more funny, so that your belly aches. So like taking one out of context doesn't really do anything, because that's what I wanted to do with this video. I wanted to like give you examples of what was so funny, but the truth is that it's hard to relay that, because it's taken out of context. It's not that funny. There was one though that was so funny that I had to tell my partner about it, and it was this one. And I read these books in Swedish, so I'm translating, so it might not be word for word what the original is in English. So, the journalist, what happened to him? Says one person. And the other one says, he had a heart attack. When? How? He had a heart condition that I didn't know about. So, he collapsed during the interview and we couldn't revive him. Interview. Have you had him tortured? Well, it's like everything else. It's about death and... Yeah, I had him tortured. And it doesn't sound as funny when I say it, but it was just... in the context and... leading up to this conversation, this exchange, it was just so funny. Because you could see that poor guy sitting there. And it's the words like... Well, it's about death and... Yeah, I had him tortured. So, and there's just in the last book there's this whole like 3-page paragraph about one of the main characters just thinking about her life and the aliens and their view on life and her view on life, and it's just this wonderful like aha moment that she goes through. And so these are the pages I'm gonna copy and save, because if I had, I think if I would have maybe done this even if I had owned the book, just so you know, because this is just, I wanted to annotate like all of it. If I had if it was my book and I had a pen, I would have, annotated the whole page, and until I realized like, no, I just want to highlight this whole like 3-page chapter. So I like the layout of these books. I like the mixed media with like journal entries, interviews, discussions, and that sort of thing. And then I also enjoyed the humor. The humor was like, mwah, chef's kiss, the dot above the I, as we say in Sweden, and I just loved it. And I love these books. So these are 5-star books. This is a 5-star series for me, and I would not be surprised if this is my like 5-star series of 2025. But I hope that I will read so many more 5-star books in this year. And since I read almost only books that I think I'm gonna enjoy, I think that's very likely that I will read more 5-star books. The question is, will I read any more 5-star series? So, if you have come this far, let me know in the comment section if you have read The Themis Files by Sylvain Novelle. Is that how you pronounce his name? Sylvain Novelle? I don't know. If you have read those, and let me know what is a 5-star series for you, like with no books that were dipped, because my experience is that most of the series I read, like book number 2 or book number 3 is like a 2-star, and you're just getting through it to get to the next one. With this, I was just like immersed in them, all 3 of them. So yeah, let me know what 5-star series you have read this year or last year, or that you still remember from maybe your childhood even. So I will see you in my next video, and have a lovely day and happy reading. Xingling!